My name is Bailey Parker. I am the Communications Director here at the South Carolina Department of Consumer Affairs. I've been here for almost 5 years, and if you've been here before, you've probably seen my face many times. Today we're going to be talking about job scams. We are at the beginning of the school year, and maybe you are looking for a job, or you are looking to change jobs, whatever it may be, you might be on the job hunt. And there are plenty of great new ways to look for jobs, especially with the internet. But that also means that there are ways that scammers have taken advantage of that so they can steal potentially your money and information for identity theft purposes. All right, I always have to give this disclaimer. I'm not an attorney. You definitely don't want legal advice from me. It'd be really bad advice. We're not going to talk about any specific laws today, so this doesn't really apply. All right, let's get into why we're all here. What is a job scam? So this is when scammers, fraudsters, criminals, whatever you want to call them, are going to conduct false interviews with applicants. And then they're going to then request personal information or money. Sometimes they don't even go as far as doing the interviews. They may just email back and forth, sometimes texting, maybe they'll call on the phone. It really depends, but they're going to contact you somehow. And they're going to request this personal information or maybe just request the money outright. I hear all the time, well, why are people falling for this? Why would people just give a stranger money? Because you're looking for a job, right? Some people may have lost their job for whatever reason, and they're desperate to get a new job, or they're desperate to get out of a job that they really want to leave. So they get an interview with somebody and they're saying, hey, you can start next week. That sounds really great, doesn't it? Especially if you're desperate for a job. And then they don't think twice when that person all of a sudden starts requesting a lot of private personal identifying information, or maybe even saying, hey, we need you to pay for some equipment, things like that. When you're offered the job, oftentimes applicants can work from home. So this is very appealing to a lot of people. I would say the vast majority of job scams are work from home scams or remote scams. Not all of them, but I'd say a lot of them are. I know that there are job scams out there that are in person too, but the work from home scams are very easy to commit. They're very easy to do because there isn't a physical building that they have to put down on this listing that they're putting online, right? So this is why scammers may lean more towards the work from home remote scams. In order to seem more legitimate or real, they might send you an employment contract to sign. And when they do that, they're going to request all this very private information. And it might seem like legitimate information that a real employer would ask of you if you're not really thinking about it. And to give a personal story, 3 pieces of this information actually would make sense to me. When I got a new job, this was years ago, they wanted my driver's license. They wanted my physical Social Security card, not just the number, but they wanted the actual card so they could photocopy it. I was going to work for a hospital, and they wanted to do background checks and things. And then they wanted my direct deposit information so they could directly deposit my future paychecks into that. The one that's a huge red flag to me in this list is the credit card information. Why would they need my personal credit card information to offer me a job? But the other three, in my experience, wouldn't be an automatic red flag. But I would always ask questions. If somebody is automatically saying, hey, yeah, we're going to offer you the job, now give me all of your information, including your financials, I would be wary of somebody who's doing that. Excuse me. So this is what to watch out for. We're going to go over some specific situations here. A lot of these are work from home listings, as I mentioned, because it's very easy to do these types of listings. So when it comes to work from home listings, I'm not going to go into specific companies because you can list any type of company for work from home, right? We're going to go over the types of keywords or things that would be in the listings that you should watch out for, okay? This could be a healthcare company, or this could be a marketing company. It doesn't matter necessarily what the company's name is or what type of industry they are. It's the language that they're using in the posts that you should watch out for, that you should be on guard for. So please watch out for keywords like work from home, quick money, and unlimited earning potential. That last one there, unlimited earning potential, piques my red flag in my brain because one, why? That sounds amazing. I wish I just had unlimited earning potential for every job that I've ever had. The sky's the limit. And maybe if this was a sales position, there might be unlimited earning potential. But even then, I would be suspicious of this. Quick money, quick. This is a huge red flag in general of all scams. Anything that's fast, you want to be very suspicious of, because scammers are using this type of language to lure you in. Everybody wants quick money, and scammers know that. They know the moment you see quick money that you're most likely going to say, oh, yeah, I need money fast. I'm not going to think about the rest of the red flags that are in this post, probably. And then the reason work from home is a potential red flag to watch out for in these work from home listings is because that's not usually the language that's used in online listings for these types of real jobs. I'll talk about what the real language they'll use in just a second. Grammatical or spelling errors are obviously red flags of job scams. Now, that does not mean that just because they're spelling things correctly and have proper grammar, that it's real. With AI now and all of these technology, all of the technology that's at our fingertips, that also is of use to scammers. There's things like Grammarly, that is a free add-on service to every internet browser, and scammers can use that too. So just because the grammar looks correct and there's no spelling errors, that doesn't mean it's legitimate. But if you see grammatical errors and you see spelling errors, that is a red flag, because when it comes to job listings, companies are going to take their time to make sure there are no errors in those job listings. This is a huge red flag for all job scams. If they are saying that you need to pay up front for a starter kit or certification for something, or for a type of item that you're going to need to do the job, maybe a computer or a laptop or a phone or some type of product, that's a huge red flag. In real remote working positions, the companies pay for your products that you need to use when you work from home, okay? You aren't going to have to pay up front for anything. Also, some other red flags. This doesn't happen often, but it can happen, especially for people who maybe don't have a ton of experience and they're looking to gain experience. You have to work a lot of hours without pay first. So maybe like an internship, or they may just say you have to work a certain period of time before you get paid. The concept kind of comes from maybe you get a real job and you are on a period of time where you don't get insurance for 90 days, right? That concept comes from that. Oh, you have to work 30 days without pay and then you'll finally get paid. No, no, don't do that. That's not right. Okay, that's a scam. They're just getting work out of you to not pay you, and then you're never going to hear from them again. So here are some examples. These are actually online ads that we've seen and that you can find on Facebook, Twitter, all over social media, Craigslist. So earn $500 to $1,000 per week guaranteed. Work from your own home, assembly, office work, call this number. This sounds great, right? They're guaranteeing you a certain amount of money, and $1,000 per week. That sounds pretty freaking nice. I get to work from home. This lady looks so happy at her laptop. She's working from home at her, dining room table, maybe. So this is a too good to be true scenario, because what's going to happen here is you're going to call this number and they are going to start asking for your personal information, and then they're most likely going to steal your money or your identity down the line. The red flag here is guaranteed, okay? No one in these situations, especially like this ranging number, they're guaranteeing you a specific amount of money, is a red flag. Here is another ad. Now hiring, apply today. $400 to $1,200 per day. Holy my goodness. I went into the wrong business if this was a real thing, because $1,200 per day just sitting at home answering phone calls with a flexible schedule. You see this flexible schedule, sales and non-sales opportunities, hourly and salary opportunities, management and training positions available, no experience needed, and they're going to train you. This sounds amazing. It almost sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? Yeah, it's because it is. Okay. We're in a too good to be true scenario here, right? Also, they are hiring for literally every position ever. We're going from customer support to coaching to broadcasting to real estate to counseling to loan originators. What company is this? This is a huge red flag. What company is hiring for all of these different types of positions and offering this much money? Not a real company, okay? Please don't pull off these little tags you see on the light poles. Work from home, free info package, up to $2,000 part-time, $6,000 full-time. No, don't do it. It's not worth it. I included this in here. If you came to the social media scams webinar that we gave, was that last week? Time is flying by, guys. I think that was last week. I showed this same slide because job scams are everywhere on social media. I see them often because I'm in a number of job groups specifically to look for these job scams. And it's always these situations where it's the same guy who posts in, by the way, different states, copied and pastes the same content. Data entry operators needed ASAP. We need them fast. That's a red flag. His or her home pays $15 an hour. You'll get paid weekly. That is really that's a draw for some people to get money weekly. comment info if you're interested in the work and ready to start. They want you to start immediately. No startup fee. Okay, well, that would make some people think that's not a scam then if there's no startup fee. Well, they're just going to ask for your information and most likely steal your identity is what's going to happen. And also a huge red flag here is that they want you to directly message them. There's no link to an outside source of a job listing that you apply to. This Christopher Maurice Wills wants you to directly message them. See here, inbox me for more information is what he says. This is a scam. He's going to steal your identity. It's most likely that's not even probably what he looks like, and that's probably not his name. So these are everywhere. And it's not just Facebook. You can find these on Craigslist and every other social media platform, but I just see them all the time on Facebook. So when we're looking at real remote work, specific word we're using instead of work from home is remote work, is they're going to include phrases like remote work, virtual work, or telecommuting job. You're not going to see a company use work from home usually. This is the actual language that you'll see from companies. Again, free from grammatical errors. And they're going to use acronyms a lot of, excuse me, I'm sorry, I keep yawning. They're going to use acronyms a lot of the times, especially if there are specific certifications that they're looking for. Actual jobs, if it's a real job that requires certifications or they're looking for certain qualifications, they might use acronyms for different titles, things like that. So if you're looking for remote work, search for remote work, virtual work, or telecommuting job. I do want to say, if you're searching for this type of work and you're going to a site like Indeed, I'd say that's kind of the standard at this point when people are looking for jobs online, is Indeed.com. Indeed is not without scams. There are still scammers on Indeed. Now, Indeed works really hard to try and weed out scams, but you can still occasionally find scams on Indeed. Also, LinkedIn. LinkedIn has, is for professionals and for job listings and things like that. And a lot of people have just kind of blindly trusted LinkedIn to be a trustworthy place to list jobs and apply for jobs. Well, problem is scammers have used LinkedIn to post scammy remote work jobs and even real looking jobs at an actual physical workplace. Now, those are few and far between compared to the work from home jobs, but just because it's on a more quote unquote trustworthy or well-known website does not mean that it's without scams. So I just want to put that out there. So here's some other things to watch out for. It's the time to hire. It's the claim that they're looking to hire very quickly. That is a big red flag of a job scam. They want to hire ASAP. They're looking to hire you tomorrow if they could. Let's get you in at the end of the day, okay? And the reason that they're doing that is because scammers don't have patience. This is for all scams. And this is actually one of the basic red flags of a scam that we'll go over later. Scammers are looking to make things move real fast because there's two reasons. One, they just don't have patience. They want to move on to the next person to see if they can scam that person and get their information and money. And two, because they realize the more time you have to think about it, the more time it's in your brain and you're mulling over the details and things, that gives you more time to realize it's a scam. That's why scammers move so quickly. So if somebody's like, yep, we're going to get you in tomorrow, we're going to get you in 2 days, why don't you come in today? Why don't we do an interview in an hour? I'd be suspicious of that, okay? If they use words like immediately or in the coming days, the reason in the coming days is a little suspicious is it's vague, but also urgent. They're not giving you any specifics, but it has a sense of urgency. So watch out for that. So any type of person that's trying to urge you to move quickly, that's a red flag. And then this last one, this goes for any scam, guys, but I've said it already, I think at least twice. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. So this applies to, I would say, if you're looking at jobs that are like sales, so you're looking to sell a product, or the company is claiming that they're selling a product, or and oftentimes they use advertisements for this product that involve celebrity endorsements. Okay, I've even seen some of these advertisements for companies that are doing flipping, and they have celebrity endorsements from like HGTV companies, and they have wild success stories where they say, oh, we've invited all these people in, and they've all become these amazing house flippers, and they've become millionaires and all these things. Wild success stories. If it seems too good to be true, it means it probably is. The odds of you being the person that is the exception to the rule are slim to none. I hate to be the person that breaks that news to you, but that is the case. Watch out for upfront fees or information required. So if anybody is requesting to send a payment for an application, you should not be paying to apply for a job. That should seem obvious. But if anyone's saying, oh yeah, it's a $50 fee to apply for this job, no. You don't pay to apply for a job. That's a scam. You're never going to hear from them again. Money for a background check. If a company says that they're going to do a background check, that company is paying for the background check. The reason why is they usually are contracting with a background check company themselves, and they pay for those services. They are not going to ask you to pay for that background check. Employee processing fees or for work equipment to start that job. Again, if this is a remote work job, a work from home job, you aren't going to have to buy your laptop. What we've heard many times over is when people fall for these types of scams, they say that the person on the other end says, okay, we've hired you for the job. We are going to reimburse you for your work equipment. Here are the guidelines for the laptop that everybody at our company works on. Go out and buy it, and then we will reimburse you for the money, whatever. And then one thing after another, they end up giving over their financial information, their deposit information to this person so they can reimburse them for buying a laptop or whatever, the work equipment to start the job. And then they've just given over all their financial information to this stranger, right? And then are they ever reimbursed for the work equipment that they bought? No, of course not. And then the rest of their money from their account is stolen because they gave over their financial information. Or they're just requesting any type of personal information. I'd be very wary of giving over social security numbers. I know that businesses will ask for a social security number way down the line. So after you've done all the interviews, they've offered you the job. Usually it's when you are requesting insurance or you're getting insurance. the insurance companies need your social security number, things like that. Or if they are doing a background check, they will need your social security number. But I would ask questions. Don't just blindly give people your personal information. Ask questions. What are you doing with it? How are you storing it? How are you destroying it if you're destroying it? It's always safer to ask than just to blindly give people your information and trust them with it. Asking for information. If it's a real job, you're going to receive a formal employment document. So let me share my experience with state government. When I moved here to South Carolina and I received my offer from South Carolina Department of Consumer Affairs, they called me on the phone. I had multiple interviews with them, one on the phone, then one in person, and then they called me and offered me the job. I said, I accept. And then they sent me a formal offer letter in the mail. Now, this may be different, obviously, for other types of jobs, but it is very common for jobs to send you like an offer letter for you to then sign and accept. So a formal employment document is usually a common occurrence for a real job. You will receive tax documentation. Why? Because they are going to be paying you, and you're going to be paying taxes through that paycheck. You are possibly going to have to share your personal information, as I mentioned on that last slide, your social security number for insurance purposes or tax purposes, but always ask them, what are you doing with this information? How are you storing it? How are you destroying it if you are not keeping it in a secure place? So some common contact methods. Here are some signs. Now, this is not exhaustive, okay? So could it be a scam? If they're requesting an interview through places like Facebook or Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Google Hangout, any other kind of unusual request for an interview, it's a red flag. Emails are coming from a weird looking address. When I say weird, I'm like, Bailey, what does weird mean? I mean, if you think you're interviewing for Google, you applied for a Google job, and it's not coming from google.com, or it's not coming from a email that looks like an official email, it's coming from google.co.com, that's a red flag. Also, a lot of job scammers will use Google Hangouts or other online chats, maybe WhatsApp, apps on the phone to do texting that are online texting apps. They won't use emails or things like that because they don't like those ways to be traced. Ask you to share your personal information. Obviously, we've gone over this many times. More realistic, we're not saying that this can't happen from scammers, but we're saying this is more realistic. So they may reach out to you to places like LinkedIn. I did mention that there still are scammers on LinkedIn, but oftentimes they'll move to email or phone. You're not going to have somebody reach out on Google Hangout and you're just going to have all of your interviews on Google Hangout and then a job offer view on Google Hangout. Or, you know, you're going to do all that. Yes, it's still common for people to do interviews, especially after the pandemic. It's still common for people to do initial interviews, say through Zoom or WebEx, other online video platforms like that, and then move on to either an in-person interview or final interviews through video, depending on if you're across the country, things like that. But just know that it's less common for them to just be emailing you back and forth. I've also heard of scammers just sending like a list of questions in a Word document as the quote unquote interview. That's a huge red flag. Legitimate companies are not going to hire you without having some form of interview. This is a huge red flag of a scam, and that goes back to the whole quickness, right? They're looking to hire you fast, and oftentimes these scammers will say, No experience needed. In fact, we're looking to hire someone so fast. We saw your resume and we think you're a perfect fit. We're not even going to do an interview. Legitimate companies are just not going to do that. Okay. So don't, even though that seems awesome, I would love to not have to interview. If I was looking for a job and I didn't have to interview, that would be amazing. If somebody could just look at my resume and be like, yeah, she seems great, let's just hire her. That would be amazing. But no, that's just not going to happen. Look out for phishers. So what will happen is, in certain situations, what scammers will do is they will find your information. Maybe you've signed up for a online job site, or you're on a job listing on Facebook, on one of those groups. They find your information and they start emailing you. They see, and this can even happen on Indeed, where you put up your information and you say, hey, I'm looking for a job. Same thing on LinkedIn. You can actually put your profile as looking for a job on LinkedIn, and that means that people could look for you and say, okay, I'm looking for somebody in communications who's open to a job. Here are the qualifications I'm looking for. So this person could say they're looking for those things, find my information and start emailing me. And this, look at this red flag right here. Interviewdesk.bignamecompany.regina. Obviously, this is meant to be very scammy. It's supposed to show a point, right? A real scammer, unless they were really dumb, wouldn't say bignamecompany.com. But let's just say it was like interviewdesk.chasebank.regina@gmail.com. If this was coming from Chase Bank, the Chase Bank wouldn't be before the Gmail. It would be, there would be no Gmail. Chase Bank isn't using Gmail, guys. Okay. Job interview. Your resume has been reviewed by the hiring department of insert big name company. We believe you have the required qualifications to occupy one among the listed opening positions in the company. I've actually, when I was looking for jobs, got so many of these emails where it was like, yeah, we think you could do so many jobs for us. You could do 10 jobs for us. Just pick one and we'll hire you. No. What they're looking for you to do is, kindly text us this number, text us on this number. They want you to contact them. That's phishing right there. This all sounds great. $25 per hour. Dang. And you get paid for training, $15 an hour for training. You get paid either weekly or bi-weekly via direct deposit or paycheck. Wow. Sounds too good to be true, right? It's because it is. Also, the other thing that's a little suspicious here is kind regards John Allen. John Allen, isn't this coming from Regina Smith? Yeah, it's a little weird. Here are some other specific types of work from home, or I'm not going to call them remote scams, but work from home scams. At-home medical billing and coding businesses. That PDF that I've attached that specifically goes over work from home scams goes into more detail about these specific ones that I am mentioning here. So medical billing and coding businesses, envelope stuffing schemes, mystery shopping. There are real mystery shopper jobs out there, but there's a lot of scams out there too. So we have more information on how to identify that in the little PDF that I provided. Data entry jobs, MLM style pyramid scheme scams. So please just be very wary of these types of jobs where it seems really easy to do from home and they're offering you a ton of money to do it. So here's just some basic tips on how to avoid job scams. Search online, which is like, okay, Bailey, obviously, like, but what you should do is look up the name of the company and then put the word scam next to it. And then after that, put the name of the company and then review. Put the name of the company and then complaint. And then see what other people are saying. because the odds are other people have been scammed by this company or person and they've put it online, okay? It doesn't guarantee that you're gonna find something, but complaints can tip you off if there's possible problems. Talk to somebody you trust, a family member, a friend, tell them the situation. 2 heads are better than 1, 3 heads are better than 2. This goes for all scams. If you think something is suspicious, talk to them about it. Don't pay for the promise of a job. Honest employers, including the federal government, will never ask for you to pay to get a job. Anyone who does this is a scammer. Hands down, 100% of the time. Never bank on a quote unquote cleared check, okay? No honest potential employer will ever send you a check to deposit and then tell you to send them part of the money or pay or buy gift cards with it. This is a specific type of job scam where they're going to say, okay, we're going to send you some money to pay for your laptop, okay? But then they accidentally send you more money than they said they would, and they'll call you and say, oh, we'll just deposit it and then send us back the rest of the money, or buy gift cards with the rest of the money and then send us the information. Yeah, that's a fake check scam. It's going to bounce, and then the money you did send back to them is going to be your own money from your bank account. Okay, let's go over these red flags that are the same every single time, and then we'll end for any questions. There's a couple of questions that have popped up. Scammers are going to pretend to be someone you know or recognize. So they're going to pretend to be these big name companies like we've talked about. I'll apply these to the job scams, but they apply to every scam out there. They're going to pretend to be these big name companies, corporations, organizations, agencies that you might want to work for, or maybe you looked up to. And that's going to get you to potentially overlook the red flags that you wouldn't have before. Because, oh man, I've always wanted to work for NASA. And NASA has a listing where it says, hey, it's just send us $100 for the application fee, and then we'll look at your application. Well, I've always wanted to work for NASA, so I'll pay the $100. Yeah, don't do that. There's a problem or a prize. So in that situation, we just talked about how that check scam, where that job sent you a check. Oh, oops, we sent you too much money. Can you just cash it for us and then send us the remaining balance? Yeah, that's a problem, isn't it? You got to fix it for them. So there's always a problem you have to fix, or there's a prize you have to collect. Now, I don't know how to apply the prize to a job scam, but in all types of scams, for prize scams, they're going to say, you've won. Now you have to do is pay for shipping and handling. Yeah, no, you're not going to do that. Pressure you to act quickly. Job scams, we've been talking about this constantly. They want you to act fast. We're hiring you tomorrow. We want you to come in next week. We're not even going to interview you because we love your resume so much. We're acting so fast so that you don't even have the time to realize that this is a scam. This is a huge red flag of every scam. And then the last one, which I think is probably, in my opinion, the biggest red flag of any scam, they're telling you to pay in a specific way. So if they're asking you for money, or they're telling you you have to pay for something, it's in specific forms of payment, usually unusual forms of payment, gift cards, cryptocurrency, wire transfer, bank-to-bank transfer. These are not common forms of payment for real businesses. If I went to Walmart on Friday to get groceries and I went up to the register to pay and I handed over my credit card and they said, oh, sorry, we only take cryptocurrency on Fridays now, there would be an uproar. Legitimate businesses do not force consumers to pay in specific ways, okay? Only scammers do. I know we're at our time, but I do just want to tell you, please don't click on random links and don't text random numbers. If the link looks off, think before you click it. It could be an attempt to get your information or install malware. Update your software, don't delay. The reason for software updates on your devices, whether it's a phone, an iPad, a computer, is because the older your software, the more holes there are in it for hackers, scammers to get in. Strong passwords. Use passwords that are long and different from each other. The CIA, the FBI, the National Cybersecurity Alliance say password managers should be used so you can use passwords that are long and different from each other. So, and password managers encrypt passwords. You can actually go, the National Cybersecurity Alliance has a page that recommends password managers, so you can go there. And the last one is enable I don't know why that is just like flying away, but enable multi-factor authentication. You need more than a password to protect your online accounts. Enabling multi-factor authentication is basically you're going to put in your password and then you're going to get set a code. And you got to put in the code to get in. So that's just a second layer of protection. It's like layers of armor. The more layers of armor we have on, the more protected we are. Okay. We do have a few questions here. When job sites like Indeed post scams, is Indeed liable? So, I mean, again, I'm not an attorney, so I can't say whether or not somebody's liable, but Indeed's not posting the scams. I can say that. So it's not like Indeed is specifically posting the scams themselves. Indeed is just a job site where somebody can sign up and post a job listing for their company. So I would say that Indeed probably, and I know Indeed in their terms and conditions says that, and which we probably all have not read in its entirety, as none of us probably read terms and conditions for anything in their entirety, say that they can't guarantee the validity of every single posting, even though they try very hard to. So, I mean, that probably limits their liability right there, but I can't say for sure if they're fully liable. Next question, does anyone ever get their money back after a scam? And then there's a question after that too, but I'll answer that question first. So yes, it depends on the type of scam. So depending on the type of scam would really lend to if they get their money back or not. I would say if it's like a credit card fraud, like somebody has their credit card stolen or their credit card number stolen, people are most likely going to be able to get their money back. On a credit card, that's not technically your money, as much as we wish it was. But credit card companies have much more insurance on them. That's why we always say if you're shopping online, use a credit card, and you're most likely going to have those purchases reversed and refunded back onto your account because of the insurance on those accounts, like credit cards. But different types of scams that are very hard to get money back from are, I would say, lottery scams, very difficult to get money back from. Also, it's reporting time. When we get people reporting scams to us, oftentimes it's months, if not years after the fact. And the reason for that is because people are embarrassed. And we want to break that stigma. We don't want people to be embarrassed to report scams to us, because the faster that you report, the more we would be able to help you and maybe refer you to, say it was a bank-to-bank transfer. We know, because we worked with the FBI in Colombia, that now they actually have very close relationships with the large banks, that if you report fast enough for a bank-to-bank transfer scam, they have a 75% chance of recovering that money for you. So we can get you to the FBI, the direct contact there. But if you don't report for 6 months, that money is most likely going to be gone. So it really depends on the type of scam, and it depends on when you report it. There's a lot of factors that are in play here. And we just want to encourage everyone, report as quickly as possible. We are not here at Consumer Affairs to shame anyone. We are not here to make you feel embarrassed. We're just here to help, right? Like I said at the beginning, prevention is the key. We don't want you to reach out to us because you've been a victim, but if you are, we're not here to make you feel embarrassed. Everybody's getting scammed. Doesn't matter your education level, demographic, age. There's a misconception that only older adults are getting scammed. Everybody's getting scammed. Teenagers are getting scammed. In fact, millennials are getting scammed the most often. They actually just lose less money when they're scammed because they probably have less of it. So let's break these stigmas. And if you do happen to get scammed, please, please call us as soon as possible, because that's what we're here for. We're gonna try and help if we can. The question after that is, does your company refer scammers? We're not a company, we're a state agency, just to say that, refer scammers to this criminal justice system. So to clear this up here, a lot of times scammers are not anywhere in the state of South Carolina. And this is why a lot of law enforcement struggles with finding scammers. Consumers will call us and say, you know, I filed a police report, but the police said they couldn't help because they're not within their jurisdiction. And that's true. A lot of these scammers are halfway across the country, maybe even the world. So for us at Consumer Affairs, what we are here to do is help you mitigate the scam or identity theft and recover from that. We're not here to catch the scammer, right? We don't have that legal ability to do that anyway. And oftentimes we can, even the law enforcement agencies that could, don't have the ability to do that. So that's the answer for that one. That was the last question I had. I hope you learned something today. Thanks so much for coming today. Bye.